In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your rear brake hose on your Mazda 3. It's located behind your rear wheel. Alright, so you're going to want to press your brake pedal down. You can use a pry bar or a pole of some sort before you do any hydraulics on your vehicle. This will ensure that you don't lose all your brake fluid when disconnecting any brake lines, hoses, or calipers. Using a 21mm socket, we're going to remove our lug nuts to remove our wheel. Make sure you have a good hand on the top there, so the wheel doesn't fall off on you. Then we can take this off. You can usually just pull it off. If you need to, you can pry with a flat head screwdriver or a pry bar. Next, you're going to take your caps off. Under here is your slide pins. You're going to use a 7mm Allen wrench socket or just Allen wrench. Set your pins aside. All right, now you can take off your top of the caliper. And remove your pads. So you're going to take a pair of vice grips and just bend it back that way to unsnap it. All right, now you can take it out of its housing, it's part of the caliper, and set that off to the side. Our brake hose and brake line in the wheel well is frozen together. We're able to get the brake hose free from the fitting, but the brake line in the fitting is frozen. So that's making it impossible to remove the line from the brake hose the way you should. So instead, we're going to take the hose off the caliper by unwinding the caliper. Now you want to brace the caliper up against the bracket and just going to use a 14mm wrench. And this is the part that's a little strange. If you have a seized brake line and the fitting is stuck to the brake line, you don't want to do a brake line, or you don't have the materials to do a brake line, then this is a way around it. Just pick up your caliper and unscrew the caliper from the hose. Be careful not to break anything or be too rough with it. Now you can set that aside. Next, we're going to remove our grommet from the bracket using a pry bar. Next, we're going to remove this spring clip. You can use a pry bar once again. Okay, so now you can pull this through. So right here is where ours is stuck. So I'm just going to hold on to it with a pair of locking pliers and take my hose off from here. Okay, using a 17mm wrench, we're going to loosen up this hose from the line. And now instead of taking it off from here, we're going to twist off the other way. We're going to attach our brake hose same way we took it off by spinning it onto the fitting. Again, if your brake line fitting is free from the line, you're not going to have to do it this way. You're going to snug it up using a 17mm wrench. I'm going to hold my locking pliers and snug that up. There is 2 notches on this bracket, and there's 2 like nubs on the fitting side. You're going to insert it into there so that it locks in place, and then you're going to put your spring clip in. I'm going to remove my pliers and now put in the spring clip in the little groove. You're going to use a small hammer and just tap that in. Let's feed this into the bracket just by pushing it in. Now we're going to put the hose on. Again, we're only doing it this way because our line is frozen in the fitting. So if yours is not, you can put your hose on in a normal way. But we're going to twist our caliper onto the hose so we don't have to replace that line. Okay, and when it stops, you're going to stop and just rest that there for a sec. While keeping the caliper stable, you're going to use a 14mm wrench and you're going to snug up the hose. Now we're going to put our pads in. Make sure that your spring clip pad is on the inside and the other pad doesn't have one. Put that on the outside. There are no tins for this, so just put the pads in the way they are. Don't put any grease here because then that's just going to attract dirt or brake dust and then make it so nothing slides around like it's supposed to. So just leave it naked. And then you can put your caliper on. Push these slides away so that you can clear. Once you're lined up, you can get your pins started. I'm going to snug these up and then we're going to torque them to 20 foot-pounds. And now we can put our caps on and attach our emergency brake cable. Insert your cable through the hole. Make sure it's lined up and pushed all the way through. Take some locking pliers, grab the end of the cable, and pull. This could take a little bit of patience and muscle to get this cable in. Just try your best. Remove your pry bar, and you want to pump it up a little bit. Once you feel like it's kind of coming up to the top but a little swishy, you're going to stop, and then you're going to do a gravity bleed. Take off your cap, off your bleeder screw. Set that aside because you're going to put that back after. Make sure you have a drip pan below. I'm using a 10mm and loosen up this bleeder screw. You're going to wait till the fluid starts coming out before you close it down to make sure there's no air bubbles. So now we're looking to see if there's any air bubbles coming out. All right, that looks good to go. And we're going to tighten it up. And then we're going to put our cap back on after we clean it off. Use a little brake parts cleaner. Now you can get in the car and pump your brake pedal up. Make sure it's firm and on the top. If it's not, it feels a little squishy, you're going to have to do a full brake bleed procedure. Now you can replace your spring clip on your caliper. Put it in both holes. and then stretch it over onto the bracket. Make sure it's fully seated, and that'll hold this end on. I'm going to clean the cover, take it off, and top off our fluids. Make sure you fill it to max. Clean up any fluid that you may have spilled. We're going to install our wheel. I like to walk my wheel on, starting with the bottom lug nut. And then tighten them in a star-like pattern. We're going to torque our wheel to 85 foot-pounds in a star-like pattern. Make sure you clean off your cap and anything near it, free from any dirt, before removing your cap. For this vehicle, we aren't going to be able to siphon out the fluid because it doesn't have the right. I'll take this off and show you. It's too shallow to put anything in there to siphon it out. So what we're going to do instead is make sure it's topped off with clean fluid. Make sure you use whatever the manufacturer recommends for brake fluid. On this vehicle, the cap says .4. Just make sure it says that in your manual as well. And we're going to bleed out the old fluid at our furthest wheel away from the master cylinder, which is the right rear. Once you see all that fluid that's dirty come out and it starts coming out clean, then we're going to close the bleeder down. Now that you have bled out all the old fluid, I'm going to clean our cap one more time, open it up, and refill the master cylinder with clean fluid. Clean up your mess. Put your cap back on. And now we can do the full brake bleed procedure. Starting in the right rear, then the left rear. Then we're going to go to the right front, and then the left front. Make sure that you have a drain bucket below before proceeding, or something like we have to catch the brake fluid. We're going to take our cap off the bleeder screw. I'm using a 10mm wrench. I'm going to loosen this up. I have somebody in the vehicle that's going to pump the brakes up for me. Pump them up, please. He's holding. I'm going to break it free. It's to the floor. I'm going to close it back down. Pump it up. As we're doing this, we're going to look for air bubbles going down the tube. Pump it up one more time, please. He's holding. To the floor. I'm going to close it back down and move on to my left rear. Take this off. Clean it off. And put our cap back on. All right, now that we've done our back two wheels, midway through, we're going to check our fluids. Replace your cap. All right, now that you've topped that off, you can proceed to the right front. We just topped off our brake fluid, and now we're here at the right front. Take off the cap. You're going to use a 9mm wrench for the front bleeder. And have your friend inside the car pump it up. Okay, pump it up. Pump it up. Close that down. Make sure it's tight. We're going to clean it off and put the cap back on. And now we're going to go to the left front. Now that we've done all 4 wheels, I'm going to clean the cover, take it off, and top off our fluids. Make sure you fill it to max. Clean up any fluid that you may have spilled. You can get in your vehicle, check your brake pedal, make sure it's right at the top, nice and firm, and then take it for a road test. If it is not, you're going to have to redo the brake bleed procedure again.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.